Hey everybody, Jess Intuitive Angel Healer here with your Grounded. Thank you for coming to Why Not Wednesdays, Women Empowerment series. And we have interview number 9, the beautiful Jacqui. And how do you say your last name?
Hoitingh.
Hoitingh. Okay, I didn't want to get that wrong. And she is from the Naarden, Netherlands, and she is here to tell you a little bit about her journey as a mindset empowerment mentor and the founder of Release Your Lioness Retreat. Thank you so much for being here, Jacqui.
Thank you very much. I'm Scottish. You might hear from the accent.
Scottish. I love accents. Accents are my favorite. For some reason, I grew up in Albuquerque, and I was born in Texas, but when I moved out of Albuquerque, somehow I sound like I'm from Minnesota. So now everybody thinks, they ask me if if I'm in Minnesota. I'm like, no, no. But that's just how Albuquerque people sound, I guess, when they're not in Albuquerque. But so I want to share a little bit about your journey with all my viewers here, and I'm so excited to share. So if you could just tell us your 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 age, where you're from, what you do, and a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I'm Jacqui Hoitingh. I am Scottish. I'm 58. I am a Bowen therapist and instructor, and I do mindset and am I freezing? And
Nice.
I've got Release Your Lioness, and I run retreats to empower women. So
And how long have you been doing that for?
I've been a Bowen therapist for 20, coming up 22 years, and 15 years teaching. And I've done other therapies over the years, kinesiology, I've done Reiki, I've done some work with, I do pendulum work now to
Nice.
release limiting beliefs, which works so well with my Bowen. And at the minute with lockdown, I'm doing distant work. So I'm doing lots of distant treatments. I've just done one earlier, where I'll release the fears behind the physical problem. And then the lady had a frozen shoulder. So a lot of the emotions behind it, I release all that first, and then I do the physical work. But I'm working distantly. So I'm working with intention, the same as you do with Reiki.
Nice.
Uh, so, and for the last, let me think now, I'm just on the start of my coaching as the mindset kind of, but spirit and the universe is leading me back around to working with the Bowen and my limiting beliefs, the mindset stuff all together.
Nice.
So yeah, I was trying to release your lioness, and no clients were coming, and I'm like, oh, what's going on? And then I've started with lockdown. They're all anxious, they're all stressed out, and they've got physical problems. They can't get to the chiropractor or anywhere else. So I've been led back around to actually doing my physical work and the emotional stuff. So
That's that's
it's,
pretty awesome, because
yeah.
that's I was kind of, well, I was actually getting ready to launch myself out there, and then Corona hit, and I got myself a new rate, cuz I became a spiritual intuitive before I became a Reiki, and I'm not a Reiki master, I'm a Reiki practitioner, cuz I'm still in the steps of, but I can do distance healing and all that. But I bought myself a Reiki table, and I was all gung ho to go out there and go do it. And then they said, yeah, you can't go have any contact. So then I had to reel it back in and go, what do I do? So I've also been sitting here doing, a lot of Zoom talks and coaching and stuff. And I think that's pretty awesome that um, you're helping your community that way. So that's awesome. That's going to help us get into these questions that I'm about to ask. And again, thank you so much for being here, because I know that maybe you're a little new at the mindset empowerment mentor aspect of it, but I can feel in your soul that, it's just a new tweak to what you already know. So I love it that, and I'm getting goosebumps while I'm talking to you right now. And I always say that because I let people know, for one, you can't know of spirits over here, but I always let people know spirits with me when I feel these goosebumps, and I feel like you have an amazing road, even more than what you have right now with you. And I just want to share that with you, because I got to share the messages when spirit come over here. So all right, we're gonna hop into these questions real quick. So when you close your eyes and imagine an empowered woman, what description comes to mind? And are there any like special superheroes or any in the Netherlands?
Not in the Netherlands,
Okay.
no.
I just always ask because, like, I got told, somebody from Germany told me about a hero in folk tales, and so I thought I would ask.
I've no superwoman or that type. No, I suppose that the Release Your Lioness is my website, and I always imagine an empowered woman to be quite like a lioness in that they're in the background, but they're probably the most important um, person in the community, if you like, and because they're mothers, but they're more than just mothers. They're the hunters. They have the most power, really, but they're kind of second to the lion, but they're not.
Yes. And that's very true. I like that analogy that we are like women are the mother, the lioness, because it's funny, if you know anything about lions, a lot of time the head lion, the male, will sit there and send his woman out there to go get the food and bring
They're the
it back.
hunters.
And yeah,
They're the
I think it's kind of funny that people that makes perfect sense right there with your analogy, because I was watching something and I saw the lion sitting there with his mane chilling in the sun while his woman was out there bringing the hunt back. I was like, what is this? When did this
Yeah,
happen? So
yeah.
that's awesome. All right, so tell us a little bit about your own personal path of empowerment. What would you say is most significant, um, most rewarding, and most challenging?
Um, the most challenging, I would say, was because I've always, I came from a broken family, and I've always been like, you get up there and you do it on your own 2 feet, and you're always empowered. So I've always been like that. But I suppose the most challenging is getting opening up to that vulnerability that that gives you power too. But it's if you've always been self-preservation, do you know what I mean? It's quite
Yes.
that
and
that, that was
and it's
probably
hard,
more
and it's hard to be
challenging.
vulnerable as well. That's a really big thing that a lot of people are afraid to go and do spiritual work because of the vulnerability that comes with it. And the person, that's why it's so important for the person that you're working with, like yourself, to be to have that trust, because you're
Yeah,
revealing a lot of stuff, and that's where healing comes in, is the trust and the love aspect. So
yeah, definitely, yeah.
um
So yeah, that was probably the most challenging.
yes.
How to change, yeah.
Yeah, what would you say would be your most rewarding aspect of your journey
Oh,
so far?
seeing people just transform before your eyes, especially on a retreat. That's like 2 or 3 days you spend together, and just everything, their face changes, everything changes. It's like, wow, they're
Yeah,
just
their
so much
whole being, like their whole aura changes.
aura, their energy, their face, everything. It's just someone's turned up the volume.
Yes, and I really feel that way. And that's why some days, I have a heart. Some days the hate and the energy is just overwhelming in this world. But you know what? I get up as a light worker, and the one thing that keeps me getting up to speak my word is because that aspect right there, seeing somebody smile. I connected with somebody's passed over boyfriend yesterday, and it's those are very, like, when I talk to people with past loved ones, I'm very delicate about it because I know how much grief it is.
Yeah.
But I actually connected, and I know how to channel their energy through my oracle cards, and to deliver that message was so beautiful, to deliver an angel message just to her because she was so depressed, and for me to just give a few words, and it was only about, like, what do you want her to know? And he said was release, and it was upside down, so she really needed to release. But just to share that, I know that people have given me just tidbits of stuff from my passed over dad, and it made everything, like, I'm one of those people though, because some people worry so much about validating, or is this real or is this not real. But it's funny because the people who truly need it are not going to sit there and pick away at the validation. They're going to say thank you.
Yeah,
So
they know. Yeah.
I love it. I love it that you have that heart to go out there, and because our world, and that's what this whole series is about empowering women,
Yeah,
and helping us grow stronger in the mindset, because a lot of it isn't about you need more money or you need this. You need a better mindset. We need to
of
take all
course.
this programming out that we've had happen. So what advice or suggestions can you give to women that are walking the path of empowerment, or most importantly, trying to start it? Because that's the biggest thing, is nobody wants to sit there and be unhappy and work at, a crappy job. But a lot of people just don't know how to get started. What would be your advice for that?
My number one thing, it doesn't matter what I'm teaching, it's where I start, is how you talk to yourself.
Yes.
How you speak to yourself, and make sure that you would say that to your best friend. Because
Yes.
often people say things to themselves that really, and they don't realize that words are so important. Words create things. They create emotions, and emotions create your reality. So you want to be careful about what you put out to the universe at all times.
Yes.
And first of all, you have to start with speaking nicely to yourself, and never ever downing yourself, and never speak to yourself, you know unless you would say that to your best friend. You shouldn't be saying it to yourself. um
Exactly. You got the trial and jury in your head.
yeah.
And I don't know if you've ever read the Four Agreements, but best book in the world, because it's four simple agreements, and it's do your best. Don't take anything personal.
Mhm.
Um, and then I can't remember the other two, but
Yeah.
the biggest thing it was talking about is we have a trial and jury in our head that is our self-talk. And the reason why most of us sit in this uncomfortable nightmare that we live every day, because we have let our ego, the trial and jury, get so high in there and knock us down so low, and we're starting to believe it. And people don't realize that thoughts are vibrations. So just because you think of something and you can't see it, guess what? It went out there, and it's going to come back like a boomerang and smack you in the face, because I've personally tried it out. Did it, no, not because I wanted to, but I actually sat there and went through a rough patch when I lost my job, and went through my awakening to get rid of all this chaos. I was mad at the universe, but I thought the universe was against me, but I found out it wasn't. It had to clear out all my clutter first. Um But I learned in those 6 months of having bad thoughts, what really changed mine, to stop doing that is one morning I was getting ready, and us as women have to put on our makeup. And a lot of us have a bad self-talk in there while we're doing it, but nobody can hear it.
Mm.
Well, Spirit made sure everyone knew about it, because all of a sudden, if I didn't see this, I wouldn't have believed it. But a light bulb, one of those big vanity light bulbs, popped out. I watched it pop out and land on my tile counter and not break. And it was because I know at that moment I was guilty. I was having really bad thoughts. And right there, I've never done that again, because that scared me. I was like, wow, I'm like Matilda. My my thoughts are that powerful. So if people knew your
Exactly.
thoughts could be that powerful, you would stop thinking bad thoughts.
Yeah. If you
So
want a nice life, you be happy. Be
yeah,
happy in the now and stay in that vibration, stay in that frequency, and it'll attract more and more.
very, very, very true. So how do you support women in your community to live empowered lives? I know you said you do distance healing. Do you do any other meetings or anything? You do
Any other
retreats?
media?
I know
Yeah,
you do retreats. Do you do any
yeah.
like podcasts or anything else?
No, recently I've done a few. Universe wasn't helping me very much. I've just written my iJournal.
Nice.
I haven't even got a copy. It's coming on Friday, but it's basically,
Congratulations.
thank you. It's all about because journaling, you're doing that every day. So part of it's you're monitoring your emotions. We have a little barometer where you'll put in where you are, love or fear, how to stop procrastinating, the fears that come up every day for you. You're going to write them down, that you can actually find, what's stopping you, what's actually holding you back. Just different things to do. If you do it every day, you're going to actually, and then the dream journal is all about creating your dream life. So you've got everything that you want, everything that you want is manifested. So how are you going to spend your day? And
Yeah.
that's what you journal on. So
Nice.
it's the feelings that having everything, you wake up in your gorgeous, lovely Egyptian cotton sheets, and you're going to do all the nice things the way you would really love to spend your day, because the feeling that you put out there is what the universe is going to bring back to you. So
Very true.
by doing that, and I did a 5-day challenge on my page, but I don't know, the universe was not behind me. I only had a handful of people every night, and I thought, oh, it was so hard work. So, oh,
And that's funny, because me and Spirit get in battles sometimes, because
mm,
I'm creating what I think is the coolest thing next to sliced bread. And I have literally been like spending an hour on something like, ooh, this is the best thing in the world. And literally, Spirit will erase it. And in that moment, I'm like, that's not fair. And I used to get really upset, but then I was like, okay, well, and I have to keep telling myself this, because when you've ever erased something that you've worked on for an hour,
mm,
that is like the most frustrating thing in the world. But then I said, maybe I didn't do a good enough job, and Spirit is saving me from being embarrassed. So
yeah.
my number one rule is Spirit's rejection is my protection. And I make all my clients say that too, because if
Okay.
one door closes, that door, I used to go and get a crowbar and try to pry that door open. I was like, you're not closing that door on me. I am going to open this door, and I'm going through it. And I've learned stop doing that, because that's why I had so much chaos in my life. I was
Yeah.
never supposed to go through that door. So now so for example, when I go to a convenience store and I go to buy something and the lady throws something on the counter or just gets real rude with me, my angels put those people in place instead of for me to react and get really upset and go, why? I go and I walk right out. I literally go, okay, I am not supposed to be here, because my angels literally do this to people. They jump in people and get real rude. So
Mm.
I leave, and then I've decided, hey, maybe I shouldn't stay, because the what ifs. Universe can see 50 miles, the car wreck that's 50 miles ahead of you. You can't. But we as humans don't understand why that door got shut on us.
Mm-hmm.
And we get really resentful and upset. But now I'm learning, finally, my angels had a party when I finally learned to stop opening doors that were closed. So
Yeah.
I think that's amazing that you know, it's all about the journey. It's all about getting there. You can't beat yourself up, because if you make a mistake, hey, just keep going.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So what would you say a self-care regimen, because that is the most important thing that I speak to my clients about, because a lot of people, the biggest thing is I don't have time, I'll do it later, and a lot of people don't do self-care, self-love. And I'm really big about having an hour of power, which is 30 minutes in the morning of solitude with yourself and 30 minutes at night. What is your self-care regimen, and why do you feel it's so important to have, so you prevent burnout as a holistic
Yeah.
coach?
I meditate every day. Often in the evening after I've eaten, because you've got kids to get
Yeah,
to school, etc. And I walk for an hour every day as well. And my walk is where I'll get all my ideas, all my inspiration. When I'm out in nature, I do an hour, and it's a beautiful environment around water, and that's when I'm happy. And when you're happy, that's when you get good vibrations, and you'll get, and I have little robins, little robin
nice,
redbreast. They come and visit me. I'm married to a robin as well. Um,
nice.
but they're my little sign that the universe is, that great idea I just had. Well, that's a good one, because this robin just appeared 2 seconds after.
Nice.
So I walk and I meditate. I take time to just be on my own, and
And do you feel, if you didn't do you feel if you didn't have that regimen, that do you feel like you would be the same as you are now, or do you feel more grounded having that regimen?
I'm much more grounded. Also, my therapy really grounds me, because I'm a bit of a 100 miles an hour person. I'm very fast and doing. I'm not as bad now. I'm much
Yes.
calmer over the years. But I've been doing Bowen 21 years, but when I put my hands on a body, I ground and I totally chill, and I'm in the now. I'm right in this second. And
Nice.
really, really, that's therapy for me, doing therapy, because I'm,
Yeah,
um,
actually I could Reiki's kind of like that for me, because the more
yeah,
Reiki I do, the more healing I get, so it's a win-win for everybody.
exactly, yeah, yeah.
So okay, men, we're almost gonna wrap this up here, but men, it's a
Okay.
really big what role do men play in supporting empowered women, and what role has good or bad has a man played in your life to help you be continue to be empowered?
Um, my husband's supportive of me, but he's a bit spiritual, but not totally over there. Do
Yeah,
you know what I mean? He's kind of right. Okay, I support what you do, but I'm not totally into everything that.
but that's
So
okay, because that's what at least you have a supportive
yeah.
man in that aspect. Now, have you had any not supportive men in your journey, on your journey, that helped fuel you to keep going?
No. You mean like Tony Robbins or Joe Dispenza, men like that? That's
Well, it's about men in general, because that's
yeah,
the biggest thing that empowered, that keeps, believe it or not, that's the biggest thing that keeps a woman from going on the empowered journey is whether or not, a lot of times, like I've had over 20 years of abuse in my life from men,
Yeah.
but I am a strong spirit, so I overcame that. So is there any particular instances, a boss, a person that you ran in, good or bad, that made you keep pushing it down and overcoming it? Because even though my dad had a drinking problem and was a little crazy, I loved him and he loved me. He just didn't know how to express his inner child, but
Yeah.
I don't hate him for that. And because of he was so wild and crazy, here I am at 40 and I needed that spirit or I wouldn't have made it out alive. Like literally I wouldn't be here talking to you if I didn't have that man's power in my aura, pushing me down the road, because I've met a lot of good men. Met a lot of just horrible men and all in between. And that's what my biggest message is because a lot of women get their brain reprogrammed by men,
Yeah.
and they live their life whether or not they're going, instead of for them, they live it for another man. So that's kind of what the whole question, I guess, is about.
Okay.
How do you use that as fuel? Because like I've had bad teachers. My math teacher, here's a good example. My 6th grade math teacher, I'm terrible at math because he literally put me in the principal's office um my whole 6th grade year for tapping my pencil on the desk. And
Yeah.
supposedly he was deaf. So riddle me that, Batman. But anywho, that's just generally what is your viewpoint and a little bit what
I
you've
would
endured.
I would say my father is probably the reason I've always been standing on my own 2 feet, because he wasn't there. Well,
Nice.
he was there and he wasn't. So I've always
But
had,
it brought you strength.
it brought me strength. So I've got that to be thankful for. And I've never had to be reliant on men. I've always been me first, if you know what I mean.
And it sounds like because
Never
your
been in
dad.
anyone's shadow ever, and I never will be.
Nice.
Um, so so yeah, I've got that to be grateful for, I suppose. And what I was writing down my dreams yesterday, today in fact, and what I would really love to do is to empower younger women. You know,
Yes.
we all tend to get, late 30s, 40s, 50s before we're starting to get spiritual.
Yes.
I would love that to move to, all the damage is done before we're 7 years of age. That's when
Mhm.
all of our limiting beliefs all
Get
happen,
programmed in.
programmed in. And wouldn't it be good if, if I as a mother, I would, had I known some of what I know now, I might have been a better mother. And I would love to educate younger people before they have kids
Yes.
into how you speak to your children, how, like, the respect and all the other things that.
Hey, you might just create a program for young
Yeah,
moms. Hey,
yeah,
there's an idea. Spirit just gave you an idea for your
yeah,
next course
yeah,
creation that
yeah.
you can
And
make a
also
course
for
creation for
kids.
young girls to
Yeah,
help empower them. See?
yeah, and mindfulness for kids and meditation for kids. I would love to help
I
kids.
believe it. I totally believe that because me breaking my karmic lessons, I've been on my spiritual journey every day now for about 4 years, and I have a 9-year-old daughter, and unfortunately, I went through all the mess with her father and everything, and a lot of damage has been created because of
Yeah,
all that aspect. But now I've been enlightened and I've opened up, and now I'm learning. Don't talk to your kid that way. Doesn't
yeah,
matter if your parents talk to you that way. Don't tell your kid to shush.
yeah,
um and my daughter made me very proud the other day. I have a bad habit of shushing her because people for some reason complain about loudness.
Loud.
People always say you're too loud, and I've tried my whole life, but I can't stop being loud. So it creates me to tell her to shh, don't be so loud. She literally looked at me and said, Mom, I'm happy and I'm laughing and I don't care who can hear me, and continued to sing her Disney song as loud as she could. And that was the proudest moment for me as a mom. I was like, I love it. You know what? I'm sorry I interrupted your happiness. Continue on. I don't care how loud you are. And
Yeah,
at that moment, it made me really realize, why do we tell our kids things like, and no wonder they look at us like we're weird half the time. Think about what we're telling them.
exactly.
I
Yeah,
would look at you the same way.
yeah. She's
So
putting happy vibes out. So
exactly. So what is your vision, would you say, in the next 5 to 10 years for women, in the holistic and wellness field, and what would help empower future women?
what I was saying, maybe the knowledge, knowing that, we can change everything. We can change everything in our lives, and having
Exactly.
that knowledge, we have to first stop talking badly to ourselves. Then we have to actually take responsibility for what you're creating in your life, and
Exactly.
and know that you can forgive yourself for all that stuff that you had from the broken record you keep playing over and over again, that's
Yeah.
actually holding you in the past. It's not helping.
Abraham Abraham Hicks said it best. She has I love her TED Talks, and she had one about saying a different story.
Yeah,
Start saying a different story, and it's so hard because you hear the guy on the microphone and he's trying to say it, and she's like, nope, wait, can't say that. And it's so hard,
yeah,
when you stop to think about it, because we're not mindful. We're just so used to and programmed to speak that we
yeah.
don't think about what's coming out of there. And if we could really stop
Vanilla.
repeating it,
Yeah. Mm, yeah.
things that you don't give energy don't have power. So stop feeding the beast.
Exactly. What I always say, the emotions, the words you say are either fear or they're love. There's nothing in between. They're all in one category or the other. If you
Yeah.
put out love-based energies, you'll have a fabulous life. Stay away from fear. Be aware of what comes. Was that a negative thought or was that positive?
Exactly.
You can put,
You can't, it's
yeah,
like a rainbow. I tell people, fear and love. So fear would be on the red spectrum of the rainbow, and love would be on the purple. You can't,
mhm,
the rainbow colors can mesh together and come together, but you can never be on the same path at the same time. Two colors will never
yeah,
cross each other. They'll mush together, but they'll never cross each other. So you literally have a choice to either have fear or love.
yeah,
And I always tell people, what side of the rainbow are you on? And that's the easiest way, because the rainbow doesn't. But if you think about it, well, I'm getting to the green, so maybe, I need to, you know,
yeah.
reel it back. So, all right,
Yeah.
we're gonna wrap this up.
Super.
I just, what advice can you give our audience today about how to not deny themselves of self-care and to not settle for anything less than their dreams?
Cut the telephone time. How much time do you spend on bloody Facebook every day? It's like, Jesus, cut out half an hour there and you've got your time. You've got
Mhm.
your meditation and you can journal in that
Exactly.
30 minutes. So the time isn't an issue. It's your choice of how you spend it. And, just it, you have to decide, right, I'm going to change my life for the better. How do I do it? There's lots of ways.
It's all about baby steps too, and don't think that you
One
have
step
to
at a
conquer
time.
everything at one time.
Yeah.
It's We don't have to pack up everything and go live off the grid just because we're
No,
becoming spiritual. No, you don't have to go sit and buy yoga pants and go sit on, on a mat either.
change your self-talk and change that half hour from Facebook to doing a meditation, and smile and be happy. And that's the best steps ever to start shifting the needle to a better
Nice.
life.
Well, I love it. And I love that you came here. Thank you so much for being a part of our discussion today and our empowerment series. There are 15 beautiful souls here, and you are number 9.
That's a
So,
good.
yeah. Yeah, I like 9. 9 is a number of completion, and I've noticed every person that's come on here, because that's how spirit works. Is so 9 is very resonant to you right now, and I feel like there's going to be some new beginnings, because that's what 9 resonates with, is an ending, completion, not an ending, but more of a completion, because 10 is 1 is a new beginning, and 0 is the infinity number. So good things, good things. I like it. It means that you're wrapping some things up, and you are going to
Yeah,
be heading down to more beautiful things. So, keep your eyes open for that, Jacqui. Thank you
do.
so much. I look here, ladies, this is what an empowered woman looks like, and that is why I am having this show, to let you know that you can really make your dreams come true, but you got to stop dreaming and you got to start doing. That's the most important thing. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming today.
Thank you.
And thank you for tuning in to Why Not Wednesday, a woman empowerment series. This is interview number 9. Thank you so much. And this is your Grounded Love and Light, everybody. Have a wonderful day.